Okay, great. Welcome team for the recording sake to the Agentic AI training session. Which session are we today? Ready? Session 11 today?
Yes.
Okay. Session 11, we're doing observability, right? So, so any questions from whatever we are learning earlier before we get into this? Any questions? No questions? I know we are doing some projects, and then this week we will be formally kicking off with the modules and requirements. And from the next week, you can start architecture and build kind of thing. Okay. And Hari has already shared a document for one of the projects, and I'll be sharing that with all of you, or whoever is there in that project team, as a requirement and approach and everything. So we can, and architecture also, we can get started with that, whoever is in that. So for other projects, you can also send me similar documentation, or I can prepare that for you. Anything is okay. Okay.
Yeah, Arun, quick question.
Yeah.
We thought, when would we cover the deployment? Because observability would come after deployment, or just wanted to understand the sequence.
It would be exit in the project life cycle. Yes, it is after you deploy. Basically, you look at the observability, but some of the components you already added during build, right? So how the integration with these tools, right? So you have to integrate with LangSmith or LangWatch and then deploy it. Then you go and monitor using the LangSmith when the application is running.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah. I mean, you can do it from the learning perspective. It doesn't, it's not it doesn't have a great any major issue if you switch the patterns. Let's say you're learning everything about build, then you go deploy everything at the end. That's fine. Or you learn deploy, and then you come back and say, hey, we add these components to the same application, right? So either ways, it's fine. Okay. Now, so as we said, what is observability? Anybody can give me about what is observability? I know it's a more recently coined term. Earlier, it was called monitoring or dashboard or whatever.
It is going to perform after an implementation of that related tool or any item. We can monitor, right?
Your voice is clear, Pradeep.
Like it's like a monitoring. We need. It's like a monitoring. We need to observe that once the product is ready, so we need to test whether it is satisfied based on our requirement or not. It is generating proper. Am I correct?
Yeah, that is evaluation, basically, or QA, right? That is testing. Observability is more like you deploy your application. Yeah, you're right. You just see whether they are running properly or not, but it's post-deployment. Once you deploy, you monitor your application, how it is performing, how many calls it is making, how many passed, how many failed, requests, how many requests passed, how many failed, what is the response time, right? And is any of the applications stuck? Do we need to restart, or is it taking more time or more network resources? So all of that you can look at, come as part of the observability. Okay. So it includes your standard, dashboards like how many requests have passed, failed, or lag time, response time, and all of that will be your visualization dashboards. Many products give you based on that logs the application generates. These applications build visualization over that, and then you can view them as charts and different visualizations to understand how the application is performing. For the LLM models or apps also, it's the same. It's only that you are using a LLM model inside your application. Other than that, you can just treat it as any other Python or Java application that you are building and deploying on an endpoint that you can serve. You send requests to it, and then it gives you a response kind of thing, right? So when you get to that, let's say including the LLM models, there are a few other features that you want to monitor. Basically tokens. So other applications, normal standard applications, don't have the tokens concept. But here you will have number of input tokens, output tokens, and how they are, how many tokens are generated. And plus, you need to see request and response. In the standard applications, you have API, but the API request and response are standard, like the data that you generate from your database that will still be logged in Splunk and other tools, your standard request and response. The same thing here also, you will the log what is the input sent to the LLM input tokens and what was the response from the model or from the application. So that's how you would monitor that. And then the lag time is what is the time taken for the model to generate the tokens, the complete response, and you have different times, time taken, TTFT, so time taken for first token. So you don't wait for all the tokens to be generated. As soon as the first token is generated, it starts sending the response. It's not like, it's streaming response. It's not IO standard. So what is the time taken? That's called lag time. So what is the time taken for the first token to generate? We will take that. Or then time taken for the complete response, we'll take that. So there are so many other things that you would look at, right? And how many calls are made to the LLM, to the RAG, retriever, to the complete application, and all of that can be traced and monitored. Okay. So as I said, we'll look at a couple of tools. One is the LangSmith, and the other is LangWatch. So LangSmith is part of the LangChain Academy stack. So in the LangChain stack, you have LangGraph, LangChain to build the standard RAG or agents. You have LangGraph to build agents and orchestrate the Agentic AI apps. And then you have LangSmith to do the evals and observability. For deployment, again, earlier there was LangServe, and that is retired now. So now everything is in the LangGraph Studio, LangGraph platform that you use if you are using the LangChain Academy. Okay. So with LangSmith, how we are going to look at observability. So you have evaluation, observability, and prompt engineering. So prompt is that just saving your prompts as templates and reusing them. Evaluation is basically evaluate your model. So just like it's like QA basically. How you test your applications, right? You write some tests and then you run the tests and then you compare with the expected and the actual results. So here it's in the evaluation. There's a different platform, different ways of doing it. You can do a blue and rogue score. You can do a standard evaluation generated from the pipelines that are written. or where you can use another LLM to judge the output of your current LLM, or you can have ground truth to compare with, and all of that. There are different things that you can do. We will talk about it later. But observability here in the LangSmith, you can configure metrics, dashboards, alerts based on these tracing that you do. Okay. Since LangSmith is part of LangChain Academy, if you are using LangChain, you don't have to do a lot of configuration. You just have to use the same key. It is automatically integrated. It's native platform. I can do that. But if you're using other platforms, then you have to use something called OpenTelemetry. So OpenTelemetry is basically your standard that says all the applications have to output the logs in a certain way. So, right? Just like your APIs have a standard HTTP protocols, right? Get, post, and all of that, and they have some HTTPS protocol and everything, headers, authentication. Similarly, OpenTelemetry says any application that's doing observability have to, not observability, any application, standard application that can be integrated. Anything that is serving request response have to provide the logs in a certain standard definition, OpenTelemetry. So that OpenTelemetry can be used to build observability by anyone. So when you are integrating to any other application, you just use that OpenTelemetry and integrate to it so they can read those logs and then build the dashboards and traces and everything on that platform. Okay, so these are the two ways that we can do the integration with the observability tools. So what are the features for LangSmith? You can trace LLM, you can trace whole chain, you can trace the retriever, you can log metadata. As I said, evaluation, monitoring, drill down is already there. That also we will talk about. That's it. Not much of theory we want to do here. We'll want to go and look at the actual demo and the product that we are talking about. We will go to LangSmith. Okay. So everybody has agent builder now. Even LangSmith also have agent builder. Okay. So this is your standard dashboard application for LangSmith, where you have your tracing and monitoring. So these are data sets and experiments you can do manually, all of that. But mainly we are looking at this tracing today. So it will have your projects, whatever projects you are logging, it will come here. You can create a new project from here, just the project name, or you can just give a project name from your application. It gets created if it is not there. Okay, so let's say I just create cohort 6 as the as my project here. No traces found. So you can, these are all the integration guides. That is fine. They are giving me build an agent and all of that we'll see. But here now cohort 6. So you can see here it's runs, how many runs, threads, evaluators are there. That is a dashboard here. So the dashboard will give you these kind of visualizations by default that we said, right? Trace count, how many number of runs, success, error, then trace latency, trace error rate, okay, LLM count, LLM latency, cost and tokens, cost per trace, output tokens per trace, input tokens. So all of this, if you are running any tools, so these kind of visualizations are standard. Okay, but then you can add your own dashboards as well, right? So this is the monitoring dashboard that you would use. You integrate with your LLM application. Okay, any questions before we get into the actual demo? We're going to build the standard, a LangChain, install all the libraries here. And then I'm using OpenAI API key just because I'm using the LLM model, okay, OpenAI model. Now here, if you can see, I'm using LangChain API key. Or there is you can use, okay, this is OpenAPI key. So I'm setting up this flag, LangChain tracing v2 equal to true. So once you set this flag to true, it will start it will switch on the tracing part for your application. Now, since I'm using the, you can use LangChain API key, and you just give the project name. So LangChain API key will also work for LangSmith. You don't need to have a separate key for LangSmith if you are working with LangChain. It is, as I said, it is natively integrated. So you have to set the flag, tracing flag on, tracing true, and then you have to give the LangChain key. There is a LangSmith project name that you can give, okay, called LangSmith demo. Something you want to create, you can create this project, and then it will write to this project here. Okay. So, yeah.
So this observability is compatible only with like LangChain ecosystem. Like I have to use like LangChain or LangGraph in order to use LangSmith, or this could be used for other frameworks as well.
You can use any other framework. That's what I was talking about, right? So you can use others, but it does not directly get with LangChain tracing and API key. You have to use the OpenTelemetry to integrate. So basically, the way you write the code to see LangSmith, once you create project here, this is done, right? Now, how would you get your application traces to this project is different. If you use LangChain, you don't need to do much because it is native. You just need to set these two flags, it will start writing. Now, if you're not using LangChain, you're using some other framework, then the way you send it to LangSmith is different. You have to write that boilerplate code to integrate using OpenTelemetry. Say, for example, let's say this LangWatch, right? So what I'm doing for LangWatch is I'm creating LangWatch setup, LangWatch trace. Okay, let's go here. I will come to this later, but see here, just for question, see, open inference.instrumentation. So whatever framework you use, if you're using Agno, there is an Agno instrumental. So using that, you will go and do the LangWatch setup. Similarly, you can do for the LangSmith also. So once you do this, automatically, again, it will start writing to your LangSmith. So the way you integrate, you just need a couple more libraries to talk to the LangWatch and all of that.
Okay, sounds good.
Or LangSmith. But here you don't need instrumentation, which is your OpenTelemetry, because it is natively already integrated with LangChain. Okay. All right. So yeah, we have created this import. Okay, let me go here. Go to LangSmith demo. Okay, so I don't have this here. So it's just the I am giving LangSmith demo project from here. So what I'm doing, OpenAI client, I use OpenAI with the LangSmith wrap OpenAI, right? And then, so I'm mocking the retriever, the RAG application. I'm not doing the complete RAG implementation here because just for tracing purpose, what I'm doing is I'm mocking the retriever. Let's say this is retriever is actually getting your data from the vector database, for example. Here, whenever you call this retriever, it will just return this Harrison works at Kensho, worked at Kensho. Okay. Now, if you have the complete RAG, so you have docs, you send the retriever the question, whatever is your question. You have a system message, okay, and then you return system message and question with model GPT-4o mini. Using the model, you return the chat completion. So this is a call to the chat model. And then you can call the question, right? So let me say you're going to trace the LLM call. So this, I have built the methods. Now, the first call I make using this application. So you can see here, we still don't have any projects created. Okay. So you can go and run this. So now chat completion. So if you come here, it will start creating. So this, see, the project is created now. So once you have this, the first time run, if the project is not there, it will create the project in LangSmith. So you can click on this project. Now see, there is a tracing first run is chat OpenAI. And you can drill down and open and see what happened, what all happened in this call. So this is a chat OpenAI. You know what is the model that you have used? GPT-4o mini was used for this call. The first run, the input was this. So what do you have in the input? The system query. Okay. So this is the system query here. We have written system message. So this is the system message. Answer the user questions, provided information below. This is the system message. And Harrison worked at Kensho. Because this is what the response has come from the RAG, right? So both of them were logged here, system message and the whatever is the default. And then human message is the actual question what we sent here. Where did Harrison work? Okay. And then you say AI output is from the model Harrison worked at Kensho. It's the same because we wanted it to just answer based on this, whatever we have given the context, don't use the model kind of a thing, RAG thing, right? So this is the output here. Harrison worked at Kensho, all of this. Now, this is the model. So you have, there is no feedback, you can look at standard metadata that is there here. What is the project name, method, model name again here? What is the model type? Who's the provider? And then what are the input tokens and output tokens? So input tokens 33. So it will not be exactly the number of words, but you can see what is the 33 tokens input system message plus user question. What is the output tokens is just the response that we got, right? So Harrison worked at Kensho. So that is the output tokens. This is the total tokens, 40, and then all of this thing here. There is no pricing here yet, okay? So this is all you can trace this here like this. Now, so this is about whatever is the, so here if you see stats, run count 1, 40 tokens at $0.01. Total cost breakdown also you can see here, input 54%, output 46%, 33 tokens less than 0.01, 7 tokens less than 0.01. Error rate is 0. So all of this you can see here. There's a lot more tracing that is generated. If you go to monitoring, LangSmith demo here again, you see the all your dashboards. Now, as I said, number of runs on this date, okay, 0 error, 0 success, 1 success here. Okay, at this time. Then latency, you can see P50 and P99. Anybody here who know what is P99, P50? What does these metrics signify?
How much close it is?
Sorry, come again.
How much close it is?
How much?
Yeah, these are the percentiles, like P99. Yeah.
Yeah, correct. So P50, P99 are your latency, right? The percentiles, which says 99% of your requests were run under this time. So what it means is, if you say here, it says 1.2 seconds, right? So 99% of your requests were run under 1.2 seconds, which means only 1 out of 100 will take more than 1.2 seconds. So that's what it means. P50 is same thing. 50% of your 50% of your requests were run under 1.2 seconds, which means other 50 can take more than 1.2 seconds. But if P99 is also 1.2, P50 does not matter, because you're already saying that 99 percentile are run at 1.2. P50 may have different time. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is, see, 50% of it may have taken 1.1 second, but 99% of the request may have taken 1.2 seconds. Okay, there are two different metrics that you can see. So which means you can safely say P99 is your max. So any request that sends timeout or max, you can say this is my upper limit. If P99 is going higher and higher, then it is a cause of concern, right? So it might go timeout. So that's your maximum time you can look at. P50 is more like your average kind of time that it's taking. So these are the two percentiles that you can look at how much time your API calls or LLM calls are taking here. Percent of traces that errored over time. So this is all errors. If they have errored anything, your errors metrics will come here. How many have errored out and on which day and all of that. Number of LLM calls. How many LLM calls were made? So there was only one LLM call made here. The latency of LLM call again is 1.18, is same as the trace here, because there's only one LLM call in the trace. And you can see the cost, total cost per trace. It's negligible. It's here because it's just 1 cent. So it's close to $0, right? So that's what it is here. You can't see any significant thing here, on the cost. Median cost and output tokens. So how many output tokens you have here? 7. And then per trace, we have only one trace, so it is 7. Again, distributed with percentile. Token count. Input. This is the output and this is the input. So input tokens here are like 30. The same information you get. So there are no other information for this to be plotted. Okay. Now, we'll go back here and do some more runs. So what we just traced right now was only the LLM model. Okay. Now we'll go ahead and set the trace to the whole chain. Okay, so we just put traceable here for the entire rack, and then we rerun this and then ask the question again. So now, so here we are only tracing the LLM call because we didn't give any tracing here. But here we said traceable the entire rack. So retriever also goes in, right? Once we run this, we go back here, go to tracing, demo here. So now we have a second call logged. So this is again RAG 4.0 mini. Now see here it was chat OpenAI LLM. Here now you are tracing the RAG thing. So inside the RAG you have 4.0 mini call again. So most of these things would be still same. 33, 7, 40, everything is same. So you are now logging the application, entire application time. And the same metrics you can see, cost breakdowns. And if you go to monitoring now, and then look at the same project, now you have two calls. Earlier we made one LLM call, runs. This is the second run. Again, if you see here, now your P99, P50 are different. So two calls were made. P99 was 1.17, P50 was 0.91. Okay, so average is your 50% of the calls will be less than 1 second, but 99% of your calls will be less than 1.17 seconds. There are still no errors. Number of runs is 2. Now the cost of tokens, output tokens here is now 14. Input tokens have increased to 66 total. So the same metrics. Let's take then traceable. We did RAG. Now we are traceable retriever. Inside the retriever, what's happening, and then we will trace this. Another call. I will go back. Look at this. This is one call here, and this is the another call. RAG. So now here RAG. Inside the RAG, you also have a retriever. Basically, you can look at how much time or what is the input and output from the retriever from your vector database that can also be logged here. This is the query. This is the output. Okay, there is no system message or human message here. This is purely only your RAG. What is the query you sent and what are the output results you got from your vector database or whatever RAG thing that you got. And then you have your, again, the model call where you send in all the system message, human message, RAG results, everything, and the question, and what is the output. Right? Going back, metadata. So we see something here, metadata. It gives you the standard metadata. But if you want to log something, let's say who's accessing this, right? So you want to also put some user details there, application details or IP addresses, something, whatever you can capture within your application, just like you write to your log. The same thing you can also add as a metadata to each of this trace, right? So how do you add metadata? Simple. Here it gives you in the traceable annotation, you can add metadata and you can add like a JSON structure. What is the LLM? What is the user? I know LLM is already being added. So let's say I will say location, and then I will just hard code it to, let's say, US here. Okay. And then just run this and rack. So there is another call now logged. We go back here, refresh. the latest one here. Everything would be almost same, except we added metadata in this. So we want to go and see here. So user is Harun, location is US. So these additional metadata tags are available here. So later, if you want to search or export or do anything with this based on location, based on user, what is happening, you can check this. If there is some sensitive data or some errors happen or some guardrails, all right, some kind of guardrails failed or sensitive data is there, then you can see who has issued that query or who has issued that request response kind of a thing. You can trace using the metadata. But in that case, you don't hard code it. You just get system user standard, whoever is called in authentication, right? So all of that you can integrate and use that to get these details. Okay. Any questions? So now you have number of runs here, 4 runs, and everything is updated, P55, P99, and all of that. Charts.
Question, is there an option to set a threshold and create alarms?
What do you mean, create logs?
Like, for instance, if my cost goes like more than this X amount, like I need to get a notification.
Yes, you should be able to set thresholds and alerts on traceabilities.
Like where in this page I would do that?
Normally, so when you set up the LLM requests, right? So the one place is you can set up the pricing there, notification. Here, I'm not sure where it is available on this page, but I would check that up. Here you only have this, but notifications, alerts is not on this page yet. Cost tokens. Yeah, I don't see this on the home page or on here, but I think it should be there. We'll have to check, or maybe it is only for licensed product or premium product. Maybe it's not visible here. I don't know, but yeah, I will check and then get back to you on that. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, so that's the part that we use for the traceability, and there is something called evaluation. Maybe we'll touch upon this next week a little bit more. Yeah, we'll get to this tomorrow. Let's first get into the traceability. Then we'll talk about the evaluations later. Now, this we have looked at LangSmith. Now we want to look at another product called LangWatch. Initially, LangWatch was more towards evaluation, but they also have the ability as well, right? So both traceability and evaluation they have. I already have it here. Where is the LangWatch? Where is this one? Okay. So you can also basically do the tracing here as we talked about. And then we have evaluations as well. LangWatch works well with evaluation. You can build your own evaluators. You can use off-the-shelf evaluators. There are a lot of different types of evaluators. There are Boolean, fixed match, and LLMS judge. There are different types that you can go and create evaluations. We'll come to that next week. For now, we want to go back to our standard tracing. It would be more similar as what we did with LangSmith, except as I said, we use open telemetry for the LangWatch. So what we have here, so we have to install all of these. For the open telemetry, we have to install some additional libraries, PyTorch, OpenAI, LangWatch, is open inference instrumentation, Agno. So we are using, I'm using the Agno framework here. So I used the Agno instrumenters. Each framework will have their own instrumenters to connect traceability to any of the platforms that you can use. Even the no-code platforms also, you can still connect it to LangSmith or LangWatch for the traceability and evaluation using the same key. So here I said, again, you go and get your LangWatch API key, just like you do any other API keys. You go to LangWatch and then register and get your, in the settings developer you have, you can go and get your API key. Free developer you have, you can use that. Okay. There you can go and do your API key and setup. So this is the just LangWatch API key. You can use that. You also get a LangWatch and using the Python. If you look at, I'll give you the Python key, how you install LangWatch, and then you do setup and you use the instrumenters to, since I used Agno, I'm using Agno instrumenter. Otherwise, you can just directly use like this. Okay. This is the REST API. So if you want to just use LangWatch as a REST API, that also you can use with endpoint and then send all of these. That's what the actual instrumenter does it behind the scenes. Integrator, it uses the APIs to send and get the traces, send the traces to LangWatch. Okay. Now let's get back here. So similar kind of UI where you will have your traces here, dashboards and everything, and then your projects. So once we start writing, we should be able to see this. Stop.
Harun, question.
Yeah, Ganesh,
Well,
please.
what is the when would somebody use LangSmith versus LangWatch? Both sounds observability tools, right?
Not just LangSmith LangWatch. There are a ton of products there. Every platform has their own observability things, right? You have Datadog, you have Data IQ, you have even your platforms, Google Cloud Logs, uh, AWS, Azure. Everybody have their own observability, and then you can just plug this into any standard observability tools. What I'm just trying to show is a couple of open source tools that you can just plug it into to get this traceability. But otherwise, any platform will have the same. See, this question is universal. Any product you touch, you will have the same question: why you should use this particular product, right? As I said again, if you're using just open source, you don't have any platform. You're using very basic kind of POCs. You just use LangSmith, or you have a very generic use case of chatbots, customer support chatbot, where you are not giving out sensitive information. You use this. Let's say, as I said earlier, we talked about a use case, troubleshooting questions for customer support. So you have a chatbot where customers log in and ask just questions about the issues, how they can fix, kind of a thing. It's all not very sensitive data. So, and you don't need scalability. If you're a small company, then use these open source tools, anything LangSmith or LangWatch, based on, I showed you the pricing tariff you need, enterprise and all of that. But if you're a huge, big company, enterprise, obviously, you have to have the commercial license and use everything on the platform. So on the platform, again, AWS or Azure or Google, you can use standard out of the box, the observability tools, or you can integrate with these tools like LangWatch or Datadog. It all talks about the scalability and the integration capabilities kind of to your product, the features of the product and benchmarking and all of that.
So overall, it looks like LangGraph is for production, like to understand like the quality of the responses.
So LangGraph is deployment. Basically, if you want to build something or you have built this application, this LangGraph is its own cloud.
I mean to say LangWatch. I was trying to compare between LangSmith versus LangGraph. Sorry, LangWatch.
Okay.
LangWatch. Yeah. LangSmith is more like, if an API fails, you'll be able to debug using trace and other things in detail. But let's say the quality of the inferences is going down over time, then LangWatch may be a better solution for like production. That's what I'm just trying to infer.
Yeah, it could be one of that. But see how mature these products are. LangWatch depends, right? So LangWatch also has a evaluation with pretty matured evaluation framework. Of course, there are different QA products that are coming in for evaluation of these models and all of that. But LangWatch has these evaluation framework earlier built. So if you see here evaluations, right? if you go here, so it can do offline evaluation, real time, evaluate your evaluator. You can have with existing data set, CSV from production. Offline, you can just verify by generating your own test data set and then do your evaluation of your model. You can select and do execute and evaluate and all of that you can do. So we will get into that. So this is the additional feature. Of course, LangSmith also has caught up. I mean, everybody wants to add all the features. So, but this is already, they have it on this. Okay, now we have set up the LangWatch API key. So we import LangWatch and we have instrumentation, Agno instrumenter, because I'm using Agno models, tools, agents, and everything from Agno. So what I do, LangWatch setup, and I have to send what is my instrumenter. So I'm using Agno instrumenter. So it will use this instrumenter to log all of these traces to send the traces to the LangWatch. And rest all, I have the same standard, I'm creating an agent here. And with the agent, I'm asking, running this query with the agent. And the agent has Yahoo Finance tools. So I'll just run this. So if you see the instrumenter right here, it's going to log all of this. What is the, this is the tool call, arguments, tool call ID. This is the actual method or part of the tool, that it is calling with these parameters, the output, metrics, tokens, duration. So all of this is actually what is sent to the LangWatch, right? So now we go back and see the traces are immediately updated. Okay. Now this is the input and this is the output generated. Go to dashboard here. So there is one trace, one thread. So total tokens is 2.4K, 2400K. Cost is this 0.0008. Completion time is 27 seconds. You can go and view the same dashboards here in the analytics. You get the same trace, threads, LLM metrics. Again, there are 2 LLM calls. GPT-4o mini, tokens, summary, 90th percentile is available, time to first token. Okay. This is what we said, not the complete time, but what is the time taken to generate the first token from the model is 0 milliseconds, almost instantaneous. Mean tokens per message. So all of these metrics here, these are LLM metrics that we see. Again, the same information just displayed in different perspectives, right? So LLM split, average completion time, tokens per message, all that information same, repeated. But if you have any evaluations, it would, come up here. Okay. Now let's get back. Here. So it's the same thing again here. What I'm trying to do, basically, let's say I'm using a random GPT. You can switch, as I said, right? Any models you can have. If you are using OpenAI key, you can have any model you want to answer. So randomly, I'm selecting some model here and then passing that model. So in this, let's change this. Okay. So I will run this. It's basically the same project. It should take. I have two traces now. Okay, so this is the input, tell me a joke. This is the output generated. Here you have input, output. Again, you have trace details here. This is the OpenAI chat completion. This is the LLM 368 tokens. So this time it has used GPT-5 model. Okay. So duration, timestamps, PAN IDs, cost, what was the input sent, API, what was the output sent, the request response, everything here, the role that you get. So you have all the trace ID, telemetry, language, Python, name, open telemetry that we are talking about, observability, language, service name, everything. Okay. So this is how you create and use any of the observability tools here. Of course, you can explore more as Ganesh was asking, how do we set up monitor alerts based on this tracing, based on the cost or based on the metrics that you see, the usage and all. So, but another thing what we are not seeing here is kind of, it doesn't address the CPU usage or network. Those things are completely different. That is not tracked here as part of this observability. This is only application kind of a thing, not the network. Okay? That is a different thing that, standard dashboards or standard tools that you have to monitor that. For this, yeah, it's only about how your model is performing, what is the traces. Every time you call the model or application, you log the request response kind of thing here. Okay, so I think, yeah, that's about monitoring and evaluation. That's as simple as integrating this with your thing. So let's say if we run this again, and then you have three calls, traces. So there is a different thing here. Model we use this time, GPT-4 Turbo. So that's like, that's as simple as switching the models here, just like this. You can switch the models if you want. But of course, this is not recommended in the production to keep switching the models. But if you want to tone up or tone down different models, you can always use different models in different calls or switch different models just to showcase that. So you also seen, right, the same dashboards that you're also doing for the observability here, just like LangSmith. All right, any questions? We'll talk about evaluations and we'll talk about the actual deployment next week, how to build a complete. So we are doing like basically right now we are writing in the notebooks all of this, but next week we will look at how to package it as a project, right? So how do you build a project, standard any Python project that you build a project and then deploy it and locally use containers, deploy it and deploy to cloud, and then invoke the API and then see how your application works. So that is the end-to-end life cycle. That will be exciting, a little advanced. Next week we'll take that up, and then we'll assign some time for the evaluations as well, to talk about evaluations. Okay.
Sounds good.
Yeah. That's about it for today. Any other questions before we wrap up?
So are we going to see how to create projects in Visual Studio next session?
Yeah, Visual Studio, or this is
Any
like
idea?
anti-gravity. Yes, yeah, we'll see this. It will be similar, same ID, Visual Studio or this project, anti-gravity, same ID. This is the new one from Google, so I just used it. Yes, we'll see how to create projects, how to build the projects, and how to deploy the projects next week.
Okay. And so here we use LangWatch in Agno framework. That is
Yeah.
agnometer. So for crew AI, how will be using the LangWatch or LangSmith?
Okay, so yeah, any framework you have, as I said, right, they will have their own integrations you have to explore. We cannot, it's not directly done. So if you go here, you will see in the docs, in the documentation, see here, observability, LangFuse, LangTrace. Okay, they have not given direct integration with LangWatch. Rather, they have, I think, used LangFuse. So LangFuse is also another one, but you have here telemetry can use. So they give some direct kind of connectors, right, to which makes easy integration with these. So in that, they have given LangFuse, LangTrace kind of a thing. So if you go integrate LangFuse with Crew AI, so they give you all of this same thing, just like LangWatch and LangSmith. You'll have almost the same thing. Just you add the keys and then run it. And I guess we'll also have the same kind of UI to look at. So if you go to LangFuse, same thing. So you will have all of this. Okay. Take this key, put it there, run it in the Crew AI. You come back here and see the same kind of tracing and evaluations built here. It's just you have mix and match kind of a thing. One platform is favoring or have tie up integration with one of the tools. So in Crew AI, you have this LangFuse, or you have this LangTrace. Okay, again, same monitor cost, latency, performance of Crew AI agents using LangTrace. This is another tool you can use. Most of it's any tool you use, it's mostly like just adding the keys and then making the Crew AI aware that the traceability is switched on, and then it'll start flowing the data into it. So you can integrate with LangFuse, you can integrate with LangTrace. Again, you will see the same thing: usage metrics, libraries, session details. All of these, each individual agent calls, and all of this here, same thing. So you sign up again, langtrace.ai, and then install that library and start using it. So again, same LangTrace API key instead of LangFuse API key or LangWatch API key or LangSmith API key. Just the API key changes. And they have all this in it. Once you do this, it automatically starts flowing into your LangTrace account, the project. Same thing. Or if you still want, only the LangWatch or LangSmith, which is not there, they will give you this open telemetry, as I talked about, right? So you can use how to use the open telemetry, and then you can add to your LangWatch or LangSmith or anything. Okay.
Okay. Basically, to check the documentation of the framework.
Yeah.
So which are tools they are integrating. So based on that, we need to do that.
Yes, absolutely. That's all it is. There's no, it's not very complicated because there are only two ways. Either use open source like open telemetry to integrate and send it, or the platform has already integrated. They'll give you just the easy way to configure just with the keys. That's it. Last time we also saw, right? It will take some time to open now. But if you look at Langflow also, even in the drag and drop, you have those observability tools as well, LangSmith, LangWatch, that you can.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was there. Last time you told.
Correct. So there also you can drag and drop, put the key, and then leave it as part of the integration. So it will start logging there. Hibernated. It will take time to open. Yeah. Anyways, so that you have already seen that, right? So that's how you do integrate with any of the observability tools.
Arun, for next week's standalone projects, what framework you're going to use? Crew AI or LangChain?
I don't want to influence, or I don't want to give any framework. It's up to you. So as part of team, you can propose which framework you want to explore, or I can propose anything. So let's see if we have 1 second. I can 1 second. Let me, while we are here, it'll take a couple of minutes. So I was saying, right, for each of the. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, no, I'm asking so that we can prepare in advance before the next class. That's why.
Yeah. It's not for preparing for the class that projects will be offline. You develop parallelly and then coordinate offline. That's why I have done this. So 1 second, if we have.
I believe Crew AI is a popular one, and we can integrate to LangChain, right?
Yeah, you can. No, LangChain you cannot. LangChain is different. Screw is not built on LangChain.
Yeah, but we can integrate, right?
LangSmith, you mean?
LangChain. Yeah, the Crew AI is a Python-based framework, but when we use, but we can integrate to the tools LangChain, right? Or not?
Yeah, you can, but why do you need LangChain again if you have Crew AI? You can use all the tools from Crew AI and any other platform tools that are available. But yes, if you want LangChain, yes, you can also use LangChain. It's just another library you can download and use that, import and use that. So this is what Hari has prepared for text to visualization project, right? So this is what he's proposed. Like these are the table of contents and what we want to do, project definition and scope. What is MVP? What are the components? UI API orchestrator. Shuttle is LangGraph, DuckDB. LangGraph we have not explored, but yes, we can use that, or we can use Crew AI. Planner, SQL writer, validator, query tool, visualization builder, Plotly, insight writer, critique, so data model, VS code setup, agent graph. If you want to build safety governance, guardrails if you want to add, fast API, Streamlit for UI, demo scripts. So how if you want to move from DuckDB to SQL Server later. So this is the, just to get started with. But as we said, we will build modules and features will keep adding on to it. You have basic components, right? First is to come up with a working MVP model of just you put in a equation, it should give you a visualization. That's the high level MVP. So let's say give me the sales by store for last quarter. It should give you the visualization. That's the end goal. But to get there, you have a lot of things in between. You have to have a database. You have to have different models which can convert English to SQL. You have that model that says the syntax of the SQL is correct. You have to have which tables it want to use. So all of that, just goes a lot of things into MVP. But once we do that, then it comes like, how do you package? Where do you deploy it? Or which database? Do you have multiple different agents and a orchestrator that can switch based on the database that you want to deploy with? You have a SQL Server, MySQL, or you want to integrate with Databricks, you want to integrate with Snowflake. So for each database, you can build an agent, a connector kind of a thing, which can switch when you want to install, implement. Think of it as you're building a product, right? So if you want to implement it for any customer, they can have any database they want to connect to, or multiple databases if you want to connect to. So how would you connect? Then you build how evaluation is your SQL giving you proper response. Then you want to build a RAG as a tool inside that, or several things that come in end to end. You want to add observability. You want to add deployment on the cloud. Different clouds, how would you deploy it? Version management, how do you do it? Authentication, how do you implement? How do you make sure the user is authenticated? And then how do you make sure guardrails that you are not giving unauthorized data or sensitive data? So each of the component will come in the entire life cycle, and then you split it and put it in phases, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4 kind of a thing, and you keep it as a continuously running project that you're evolving into a product. But start with MCP. MCP. MCP is another thing. If you want to use MCP, is first start with Python connector to connect to database. Then you can switch it to MCP. Build a MCP server for that database, and then switch your connection to use MCP instead of Python connector for the database. So like that, you can keep adding features to the product. But basic MVP is what you have to work with. Now, platform is again choice. You can start with which one is it. You can start everything with LangChain or Agno or Crew AI. It's up to you how you want to start, which one you want to choose and get started with. But brainstorm within the team. That's why we have teams, right? So I also mentioned one of you guys to be take the lead. Pawan and I will be available to guide, but we have a lot of senior folks here, so I would request for you guys to step up and take the lead so that we can run as a complete project under them. And then it doesn't matter. We are not going to complete this project by end of this course. That's what I'm saying. Don't link it to this training session. People might come in from other training sessions. People might join from next training session. This will have its own path. So training people from the training batches is only to make sure that they have the needed knowledge. But anybody can come and collaborate and build together. It's all like, of course, open source, right? So it's not like you have to finish this project in 2 weeks or 3 weeks before we complete this. That's not the scope, or that's not the goal of this. The goal is for you to continuously try improving this idea and evolve it into a final, what you can call a product. That's the goal. Whether you would like to continue, take it to the end, add features, or you say, hey, I'm done with this. Somebody else will come in, will look at it, will continue, will contribute to that. So it will go on. Each product needs to have its own life. That's what the vision and that goal is here. So don't get too stressed or worried about this week I need to finish or next week I need to finish. Rather, I would look at it as building a valuable product in the long term. Yes, in the short term, put an MVP where we should get some quality output. Then we will put wrapper, then we will put modules, then we will put features and make it evolve, kind of a thing. So that's the strategy and that's the idea. So you can give me your feedback whether it's good, it works, it doesn't work, or we have any other ideas implementing this. I'm open to feedback. Okay. Most likely, yeah. This end of this week, we will have one of the product MVP launched. Very basic. The architecture I will give, but the product that we will be launching, as I said, it's just input output. It will not be built on the complete architecture that we can develop as one of the product in this team. But just to give you a high level thing, right? So end of this week, we will be deploying one open source tool, just very basic product, just like this. And that will give you an idea what we are trying to do. And then I will also publish the architecture that is to be the same MVP what we are launching. We will convert it into a full-fledged architecture that is scalable and open source. That's the aim. The goal is that you will all have hands-on practice, confidence. You will have something to put on your resumes that you have built this product. You will all be as contributors to that project. We put it on the GitHub. You can put it. So this is the GitHub project that I contributed to build this product, all of these features and all of that. You can put it on your LinkedIn that you have contributed to this product. So all of this, it's like multi-value that we realize from it. Okay. All right, guys. I think we are at time. Anything else you want to talk about? Is this good?
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, guys. Take care. Have a good day. We'll meet next week.